All right, let's jump right in. We're going to tackle a really interesting, maybe even a little uncomfortable idea today. What if our constant search for pleasure, for what feels easy, is actually a kind of sickness and not just a personal problem? It's something that has these huge ripple effects, consequences that go way beyond just ourselves. So, the text we're drawing from uses this powerful metaphor. It talks about an invincible medicine. Think about that, a medicine that can't be beaten. And what's it for? It's for fighting what the text calls demonic armies. But we're not talking about actual demons with horns and tails. We're talking about our own demons, our cravings, our laziness, that upside-down way we have of seeing the world. Okay, so let's get into the first part of this. What is this sickness really? Now, the source is really clear on this point. This isn't about you being a bad person. It's not a moral failure. It's more like a psychological habit that's been wired into us. It's a sickness that actually comes from our attachment to things we think are good for us. Let's dig into that. When the source talks about laziness, it's not just talking about, being a couch potato. The definition here is way more interesting. It's like we have this upside-down kind of diligence. We're super disciplined about finding pleasure and avoiding anything hard. But when it comes to what's actually beneficial, yeah, not so much. It's this deep-seated habit of picking the easy, comfy thing now instead of the thing that helps us grow later. And this right here, this is the core of the problem. We just put the wrong labels on everything. Seriously, we're taught from day one that work is bad, leisure is good, indulgence is pleasure. But the teaching says, whoa, hold on, that's a huge mistake. And this habit, this simple act of mislabeling things, is what leads to us getting stuck in a rut. And when everyone's doing it, well, that's when you start to see things decay on a much bigger scale. And you can see how this starts to stack up, right? The master in the text paints a really clear picture. He just asks, think about a family. If the kids only know how to seek pleasure and avoid work, and the parents get older and can't do everything anymore, is that family going to make it? Is it going to prosper? I mean, the answer's pretty obvious, isn't it? So, let's take it up a level. From the family to the workplace. Imagine an entire company where everybody's just doing the bare minimum. Everyone's avoiding the hard problems. Can a place like that innovate? Can it compete? Of course not. The text is super blunt about this. A business run that way is going to fail, period. And here's the last step. This is where it gets really serious. What happens when that attitude isn't just in a family or a business, but it's everywhere? It's the whole culture, an entire society where most people are just trying to coast, just looking for the easy way out. The foundation of that nation, the text warns, becomes brittle. The whole thing is at risk of falling apart. All right, so the problem is pretty clear. And if we're being honest, a lot of us can probably see a bit of ourselves in this, right? We kind of know we should change, but that brings us to the next big problem. Knowing what's wrong isn't the same as fixing it. And man, this is a cycle I think we all fall into. You feel bad about something, you're stuck, so you go looking for answers, you read a book, watch something like this, whatever, and you have that aha moment. Yes, that's it, I get it. You feel this little rush of relief. And then, what happens? You put the book down, you close the laptop, and you go right back to doing the same old thing. And the whole cycle just starts over again. And here's the craziest part. The disciple in the story actually complains. He basically says, why isn't this stuff working? I've looked at the teachings so many times. And we do this too. We blame the advice. It's like looking at a recipe, reading all the ingredients, and then getting mad that there's no cake on the table. You actually have to do the thing. Okay, so if just looking at the prescription doesn't work, what does? How do you actually take the medicine? How do we break out of that frustrating loop and actually start to get better? Here's the key. The answer isn't just knowing something. It's not an idea. It's a practice. It's something you do. And it all comes down to actively, consciously changing the labels you put on things, seeing your habits for what they really are, not what you've been telling yourself they are. The source gives this incredible, really powerful example of what this looks like in the real world. It's about a nurse who worked in surgery, and part of her job was helping with amputations for people with really bad diabetes. Now, after seeing the real, visceral consequences of an out-of-control diet day after day, something in her just flipped. It wasn't about willpower anymore. She didn't have to try to avoid sugary junk food. In her mind, the label literally changed. It wasn't delicious anymore. It was poison. She was actually afraid of it because she couldn't unsee where it led.
So that begs the question, right? Why doesn't that happen to us? Why can we hear a story like that and still go for the junk food? The text says it's because we all have this lucky mentality. We tell ourselves, nah, that won't happen to me. I'm different. We create this little bubble around ourselves, thinking we're immune to the consequences. And because of that, the medicine, that healthy fear, that respect for reality, it just never kicks in.
To really hammer this point home, the master in the story lays out this really intense thought experiment. It's designed to put our ideas of pleasure and comfort to the ultimate test. He starts off super simple. He just asks, if you had to rank things by how comfortable they are, what would you say? I mean, it's pretty straightforward, right? Standing is kind of a pain. Sitting is better. But lying down is the best. It's the peak of comfort. It's what we all want at the end of a long day. It's the ultimate prize. But then comes the twist. The master says, okay, you want the best thing? You got it. We're going to let you lie down. But there's a catch. You have to only do that. Imagine being tied down in your most comfortable position for a whole month. You can't move. You can't even roll over. What does that ultimate comfort turn into now? And boom, there it is, the whole point of the experiment. After a month of that supposed ultimate pleasure, what is it? It's torture. It's pure suffering. It proves that the things we think are so good, like complete laziness, are actually fundamentally not good. They fall apart when you test them over time. Their true nature is revealed, and it leads straight to misery and decay. So where does that leave us? We've seen the sickness. We've seen why just knowing about it doesn't work. And we've seen what the real medicine is. We've even tested our shallow ideas of pleasure and seen them for what they are. So now what? It really boils down to a choice between two paths. You've got the path that feels easy, the one our society pushes on us all the time, the path of indulgence, laziness, the one that, as we've seen, leads to getting stuck. Or there's the other path, the path the source calls truly good. It's the path of diligence, of self-control, of actual growth. Yeah, it takes more work. But it's the one that's based in reality. It's the one that actually leads somewhere worthwhile. So, at the end of the day, this whole thing lands right back on you. You've seen the prescription. The question is, are you just going to look at it and put it back on the shelf? Or are you actually going to take the medicine,